Alright, I'm hooked to this season already. Once again, Jeff and the first episode have swayed my mind, and I think that this is going to be a nice season. Sure, it could easily downturn itself just like Philippines and Caramone have, but we'll have to wait and see, won't we? Okay, so I gotta admit that I was surprised at how much camera time we got with most of the big people there. Sure, we didn't get that greatest amount from Kat, Laura, Tyson's girlfriend Rachel, Tyson, who else? Marissa, and Jervis, but it's not really a big deal. We're gonna get introduced to them eventually, and everybody will have their story arc to play. So, day zero, no comment there. Then voting out the one person from their tribes, Rupert's wife. I gotta admit, I was sort of surprised by it, but it does kind of make sense because out of all the pairings, that's the pairing that is the strongest and most likely to hold because Rupert, as he demonstrates a few minutes later, is a little bit impulsive and will defend his wife just like that. And plus, AfterBuzz TV revealed that actually he didn't want to appear on Survivor again, but he was goaded sort of into it, along with Colton and a couple of others. I think one of them was Aris. I forget what they said in the video. It's been a couple of days, and I have a lot to digest because you got to remember, I don't just watch the episode. I also watch AfterBuzz TV, Rob Sestradino, all of Dalton Ross's articles on it, and the Survivor Live After Show, if they do the Survivor Live After Show. So I have a lot to remember. Okay, so yeah, Rupert's wife, it does make sense when you think about it, although I was surprised it was 9-1. Then on the returnees tribe voting out Candace, I was surprised by that, but AfterBuzz and Rob Sestradino explained that because, most likely because she was the alternate, she didn't have as much time to talk with everybody because it seems like she only got there the day before filming started, aka she got there the day before day zero started, so, once they provide that, that makes sense. Then Ruben switching with his wife, expected. John not switching out for Candace after they discuss it. Well, since they part on friendly terms, it doesn't really matter because when it came to those two, either way, they could have passed it off in a way that would be fine for the audience and themselves. Rupert, that was totally expected, even though Jeff goes, I totally did not expect that. Are you serious? Well, so much for you redeeming yourself, Jeff, because after all that stuff you did last season, being smug about the reunion, not really answering half of Dalton Ross's questions, totally just saying to the last rights thing, one of the best things this game has, where you can hopefully get good thoughts for all the previous contestants and have the remaining contestants state that they like the others in spite of flaws, just, yeah. Most people out there seem to think that the biggest problem with the show currently is that they keep bringing back returning players. I don't think that's the biggest problem. I think Jeff is the biggest problem. But that's me. Yeah. So Rupert and Candace go to Redemption Island, and then Rupert does nothing, and then Candace starts doing all that stuff. No. It's a plausible strategy, okay? Because, since there's multiple people on Redemption Island, you don't need to do everything yourself, and just try and fend for yourself. So it does make sense that you can just sit back, have one person do half the work, and then you fill in just enough, or none of the gap, and just let the chips fall the way they will. But it didn't really do much for Rupert's image because, okay, I'm a big fan of Rupert in Pearl Islands and All Stars, but in HVV, I felt he really downturned himself. Now, I used to think that that was just HVV and the fact that practically everyone in HVV downturned themselves somehow, but now I'm beginning to think like with Scoop and Falling in the Fire in Australia, then seeing how he does when he comes back, it's just Rupert now. Because Rupert did need a little bit of redemption, not so much as being a fan favorite, but more of just playing a game where I personally like him, so it could be that I'm the only one that feels he needs redemption, but what he's doing is just not working well towards that image. And I also got to admit, this episode really made me feel for Candace because I've seen Cook Islands and HVV when they first aired, so a few of the details could be sketchy in my mind, and both times I didn't really like Candace. Cook Islands, I can't really remember why anymore. I think it was just the same reason I didn't really like Penner, they were both being annoying. And then in HVV, I think I didn't like her, but that one, I got the feeling it was more of HVV because, as I remember, she actually didn't really get that much camera time, so I was like, really, who's really caring about Candace? She didn't really get that much camera time, and that she was booted. But I have to admit, I'm actually really feeling for her here because she was phoned in at the last minute and then was voted out basically because of that. And you've got Rupert being, well, kind of a bitch about that. And she's hauling her butt off to make sure that she's, well fed. They've got the fire, the most important element in the game, because without fire, you can't cook your food better, you can't boil your water, you can't stay somewhat warm at night. Yeah. So I'm feeling for her, and I really want her to do well. Which is really surprising, given that I didn't like her, but at this point, I'm really hoping that she pulls a Penner and manages to redeem herself. I'd love to see that now. Okay, so then the opinions about the tribes. Well, the returning players, I honestly don't have a comment. They seem to be doing fairly well, but with Colton's possible re-emergence, ooh, could be dicey. And then as for the loved ones tribe, no real comment for most of them except for Brad, or as Jeff calls him, Culpepper. What did he do to get that last name? He's only been in the game for a day and a half. No, sorry. A couple days and a half. So, what's he done to earn the last name? How hard is it just to say Brad? We've had a couple of Brads in this game before. Cook Islands, and I think there was one other Brad. So, yeah. But I gotta admit, I'm not really liking this guy, and as he was forming that Strong Guys Alliance, although this time there actually is a majority of the guys. Yeah, Matt. Learn something here? Although it took Brad forever. 5 out of 9 is the majority, and I'm like, sad. Yeah. But, yeah, he seems a little bit cocky. He isn't totally thinking before he speaks, and yeah, I'd love to see him get blindsided, to tell you the truth, even if it would mean that Candace might have a tougher time surviving on Redemption Island. All the rest, though, I've got no complaints. Now, the immunity challenge, I actually was expecting the loved ones to win, because as I've mentioned before, when it comes to, every time there's a tribe of returning players, or if it's an all-returning season, the tribe that we generally predict will win the first immunity has always lost the first immunity, because most of us would have predicted the favorites would have won the first immunity in Micronesia. They didn't. That the heroes would have won in HVV. They didn't. And then in Carol mode, I just flat out disregarded the new favorites tribe and said, fans win the first one, then the favorites go on a streak. That's exactly what happened. So I was expecting the trend to continue, but then surprisingly, the returnees plus Rupert's wife come back and win the challenge. I was just like, whoa! But then Jervis runs his mouth off after revealing that he still hasn't learned to swim. Please. So, geez, dude, you got your own niece sent to Redemption Island. Good job! Sarcasm! God. So I did feel sorry for Marissa getting sent to Redemption Island, because she's only going because, one, Jervis ran his mouth off, and two, I kind of hate to say this, but let's face it, the women aren't really that strong because, as Steven and one of the guys at AfterBuzz said, the men are the strong people on the loved ones tribe, whereas all the women are just weak. Now, I don't think they're completely weak, but he's right. So, it sucks that she left, but she left. So, what do I think is going to happen next episode? Well, we're going to have to see what Colton does, and then we have to see how everyone in Brad's alliance is going to react, because something tells me that alliance is just not going to hold. So, we'll have to see what happens there. And then as for Redemption Island, well, they've already revealed that no one is going to switch with the loved ones there. Rupert's wife, that's expected. Jervis, well, that's going to cause some emotions to ride with everybody. Candace and her husband, well, they're going to have to think about it every single time. So, that's not really a big deal to me. So, who do I think goes? Honestly, most likely, I think Marissa goes because... Okay, because everything, indicates that, one, the loss of the duel, or one of the loved ones not swapping out for the other one is going to cause a lot of emotions to everyone that's there, because the entire tribe sees every Redemption Island duel this season. And two, Jerry revealed that unlike a couple of other seasons, namely like One World, this cast apparently still doesn't really like each other, and that they've got problems with each other. Yeah, it's a slight spoiler, but hey, like, I would have thought that the people in One World would have had all kinds of issues with each other, but turns out they don't. That's actually one reason I like One World. Never mind that. So, yeah, I'm betting Marissa will go because she's most likely going to cause that kind of emotion, but I kind of feel sorry for her, so I'd actually would like her to stay, because, well, okay, I'm going on this a little long, let's just condense it. Okay, who do I expect to see go from Redemption Island? Marissa. Who do I personally want to see go? Rupert. Well, that's my honest opinion. So yeah, it's a long video, but you have to remember the first video for all these seasons is supposed to be long. It's just the way it turns out. Future videos will be shorter, let me tell you.